Thank y'all for tuning in to the Allen Powell Show. We are back for the new year. Lot to discuss. New day, new time. I'll be giving you further details on what we're going to be doing going forward. But we got a lot to discuss today. Caitlin Clark hit a buzzer beater, but was it a good shot? Justin Fields' future with the Bears. They got a chance to eliminate the Packers. And if he plays well again, I think Chicago really has a big decision on their hands. Week 18 in the NFL, playoff scenarios all over the place, and the college national championship, college football playoff national championship is coming up. Michigan and Washington is the final two teams. And so we would discuss all of that, and I got a special interview with my guy, Louis Shine. But without further ado, let's go ahead and bring him in the building. Former coach, color commentator, motivational speaker. This brother does it all. Mr. Louis Shine is in the building. Thank you for joining the show, brother.
How's it going?
Man. This is a great way to start off the new year with you as the first guest, man. And I really want to hear your opinions about a lot of things. So, but before we get into the Caitlin Clark buzzer beater, because I really want your take on that, because you played professional basketball, you played basketball on a high level. So I really want to get your opinion on that. But a couple of things I want to hit on first. College football national championship, Michigan Wolverines and the Washington Huskies and national championship game. So I got a question. Michigan has had a lot of controversy this year with potential cheating and scandals, this and that. If they win the championship, first of all, who you got? And then if they win the championship, will it be tainted by the little scandals here and there? Or do you think people are going to say, "Oh, they shouldn't have been there in the first place"?
Man, I like Michigan. Although I was going for Alabama.
Oh no, you didn't say Alabama.
Now neither one of them is my team, but
right.
Because of the I had to pick somebody to make it fun,
Right.
So I was hoping they won. I'm a Saban fan just because of mindset and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I didn't know what they were doing on that last play. I think Michigan was like expecting that,
right.
But I'm from Big Ten country, so I think Michigan can pull it off. I think if it's any year, this is a year they've had a great year. Now with the scandal and all that kind of stuff, man, I've been in college sports, man, and when you get into the rules and recruiting rules, man, that stuff can be so tricky, and some people don't pay attention to it too much, and they just do what they do to get what they got to get. Now, I can't speak on them because I don't know what actually happened. I wasn't there.
Right.
But it has been a lot going on, so it's been pretty interesting.
Right. Talk about when you talked about the game against Alabama and the stuff that they was doing. I would say this, man, from looking at old college football playoff games and national championship games, none of these teams have had like the Vince Youngs, the Reggie Bushes, the big highlight stud skill position players. And it's man, it's not none of those big names. I like Penix, the quarterback from Washington. To me, I'm going for them, even though I would like to see Michigan win. But I'm going for Washington because I like Penix as a quarterback.
Yeah.
So I'm going for Washington. But during these college football playoff run, it has not been those big name players. Do you think that takes away from the college football playoff experience?
Well, I'm always I've never been someone to follow teams per se. I follow players. So in that regard, with the era that we came up, there was always those big players.
Right.
I don't think it necessarily takes away for the fan because people gonna travel to see they teams anywhere. Like if the national championship game was in the top of Arkansas,
right,
Michigan fans going the top of Alaska, them fans gonna show up. They gonna show up, But as far as the I guess the prestige of certain type of players, Yeah, there hasn't been like in this particular playoff, like those just man stud. You know,
Right.
it's I seen the teams. They're more of team efforts. I mean, of course, Washington's quarterback stud.
Yeah.
But just multiple. Like back in the day, it was every team had somebody. It was like
Right.
boom. So yeah, I understand what you're saying.
And even the Washington quarterback, he's not even projected to go like top 5 or top 10 in the NFL draft. I just like him as a quarterback because I like what he brings to the table. He don't have the measurables as far as the height, weight, all those type of things. Like if Caleb Williams was in the national championship, like he projected to go number 1 overall. You know what I mean? But I still like Penix as a quarterback. But who?
Yeah.
But you said you got Michigan in the game,
man. With me being Big Ten country,
yeah.
I favored like Ohio State when I was living in Ohio and things like that.
Right.
I might go neutral with this one and just enjoy the game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I think it would be for the Michigan fans that I do know, like it would be good because they've been looking for this one for a minute.
Yeah. Yes.
I might go neutral, man, but we'll see in the next couple of days.
Right. You're all right. We will see in the next couple of days. Last question on this. I don't know how much you've been hearing about Jim Harbaugh as potentially going to the NFL. If he win, do he leave? And if he lose, do he leave? I feel like it's in both cases he could leave because I feel like the scandals might drive him away, and then finally winning that elusive national championship might say, okay, I've done it here. Now let me go back to the NFL because he was successful as an NFL coach as well.
So I think if I read correctly, there was something that came out either a week ago or so that there was a potential new contract on the table that had a clause in there where you can't leave. So I'm not sure if he signed that. I could be wrong. I think it was him.
Okay.
But if this is just me speaking, if I was like in his shoes, if I see a lot of people where some things are going on around the program,
right,
escaping and roll out, so they, so I think if that's the case and maybe there's more things coming down the pipe,
right,
then get out of there.
Right.
But if he's like completely hasn't done anything and it's just hearsay or they're, just allegations, I mean, stand your ground. I mean, I don't see him with coaches sometimes making that move to the next level, to the NFL. I mean, Saban's done it before.
Right.
You had your boy that went from Ohio State, Urban Meyer. It's a tricky thing. It's like, do you leave like absolute success to touch a level where you may not be successful? You might find yourself right back there. Or for him, I believe he's already been at that place. So
right.
Yes.
I still don't even understand why he left San Francisco in the first place because he was doing well there. I don't understand. I feel like if he was still there, maybe Colin Kaepernick probably would have still been okay as well. But that's another story. But a question just came to my mind, being that you had experience being a coach. I haven't seen anything where it's been said that he done anything, but maybe some people under him did some stuff, but because it's under his watch, he's getting the brunt of the criticism.
Yeah.
How do you react when you're a coach? You might not have done nothing, but because it happened on your watch or under your umbrella, you get the criticism. Is it fair or is it foul?
I think it's fair only because as a head coach, you are responsible for governing your staff. Right. So if you bring people in there that are a little underhand, they make the deal, they make it happen, they're going to get the recruit there by any means necessary, you're responsible for that because those coaches at that level get paid a lot of money. So,
but can you actually know everything that's going on with your whole staff, or what about if the janitor did something? Like, I mean, like, but you still the head coach of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if the janitor of your football program or something did something? And I mean, like, how far does it go where you're still getting criticized if something happens? Like, how far does it go as far as positions where you're still responsible?
Yeah, I think that again, in the end of it, it's you know if you're a head football coach, and we've seen it with other programs where offensive coordinators get fired and things of that nature, but the head coach, the offensive coordinator, had his system. Now, if the head coach doesn't come in and do something, and that causes them to lose, then the head coach job on the line. So it's the same thing. If an assistant do something and
Right.
You get a whiff of that was crooked, or they talking to a recruit that ain't of the certain year that's permissible to talk to them,
Right.
that's illegal. You can't do that based on NCAA rules. So, but you have to know that in the moment you find out, then you have to go through the proper channels to make sure that thing is handled. So I'm not sure what it is in football, but like in basketball, I've broken rules unknowingly or accidentally. There was a time where I coached the D1 level where we're not supposed to have a contact with sophomores, not until their junior year where they're able to talk to you. And so one time I was sending emails so fast, sending different recruits, I accidentally emailed a sophomore. So I went and told on myself.
Right.
Because if later on that comes out that I contacted that player and it wasn't September 1st or whatever, it's going to be uglier. It's going to come out in the wrong way where it looked like I was hiding something versus, you know what? Oh, I wasn't supposed to contact him. I made a mistake. Hey, Mr. AD. Hey, head coach. I did this. I just wanted to let you know. So then that comes down as, okay, I understand that was a mistake. And they can put that on the record so that if anything comes out of it, they can show that, well, Coach Lewis came to us and told us about it.
Right.
Versus you ain't telling nobody. And all of a sudden, one of the parents say, well, Coach Lewis talked to us during the freshman year. And then
blow the whole spot up, not a whole spot.
So you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely, you got to know what's going on. And if you don't, then you can plead your case on that. But if you did and you didn't tell, then that's a whole different story. So at that point, people's jobs are in jeopardy or suspensions or whatever. And that's a tall order once it gets to that, man. You don't want to be walking around with your job on the line.
That's good stuff, man. That's great. Yeah. That's a great story. Great knowledge on all of that too, man. So hopefully if coaches get a chance to see this, listen, you get out in front of it first. Tell the truth. Probably save yourself a job.
Especially if you got kids and a family, man. You don't want to be playing around with your job trying to get a recruit. Like it's a way to get the players that you would like without cheating.
Right.
If it's NCAA rules, play by the rules. Like if you don't like the rules, go coach pro or somewhere where they don't have those rules. But it's the rules, and I try to do it by the book because I just believe God was gonna bless me, which He did. I got a championship. I got players when we didn't even have the scholarships to get them. So to go cheat, man, it's tough. If you're trying to be straight up with things, it's tough to even wear that on your conscience. Like it's hard.
So let's move on to the pro ranks. We got a big week in the NFL coming up, week 18. A lot of playoff scenarios, win and end, or you lose. You might need some help, this, that, and the other. A lot of stuff going on. You gave me a while ago. I'm looking at the football right now. You gave me the football. The Bears made it to the Super Bowl in 2007, and even though the Bears are not in it now, these teams are looking to get to that place, to the Super Bowl. Some big games are going to be happening this week. Now, Pittsburgh playing Baltimore. The two games on Saturday. Pittsburgh playing Baltimore. Baltimore are probably going to rest their players. They already clinched the number 1 seed in the AFC. So that's going to help Pittsburgh. I still think, without me looking at the actual standings, it's so many different scenarios. I think they might still need some help because I don't think they're actually in the playoffs right now. But the fact that Baltimore going to be resting their players is a good thing for Pittsburgh. I think the biggest game that I'm looking at though is I believe it's the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins. That game right there, Miami got walloped by Baltimore, got a 50 burger put up on them. It looks like they cannot play physical teams. They got to play Buffalo, and it's not looking good for them. What game in this last week do you have your eyes on, if any? If any, what games are you looking forward to for Week 18?
Definitely Washington and the Cowboys. Like, that's just that rivalry. You know what I'm saying? Like, a funny story behind that, man. I took a trip some years ago to DC, and it was the weekend of the Washington and the Cowboy game in DC. And man, we stepped through the airport. You thought it was like a concourse level at the stadium. Like, everybody had jerseys on. So that's a big game. Like, I always keep my mind on that one. Now, my other one right now, and this may not be the most popular, but in a way it is the Bears and the Packers. Like, listen, I'm a Chicago native. I'm a Bears fan. I remember being in kindergarten on the north side of Chicago when the Bears won the Super Bowl and they played the Super Bowl shuffle over the PA. Like, I'm a Bears fan.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope they win.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I think they will for a number of reasons, because I believe that Fields is really trying to prove a point. Although I feel like he been who he is from day one. You can see his talent.
Right.
Like, it's a no-brainer to me. Why would you even talk about trading? It don't make no sense to me. Why would you talk about getting another quarterback at one when you got your quarterback? Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's my game. I gotta watch that one.
Yeah, and we're about to talk about that in a second. But from the Green Bay standpoint, you got a chance to clinch at home against a rival.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, I hate the Packers. I'm a Bear fan. But if I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, I would be disgusted if I lose to the rival Bears and not make it because I lost to them at home. Like, that's not going to be a good look if Green Bay lose at home to Chicago and a chance to make it to the playoffs. What do you think? How do you think that's going to go over with the Green Bay fan base?
Oh, they're going to be ticked. They don't like that, you know what I'm saying? And you might need some security getting up out of there if they lose, because Green Bay fans going to be mad.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go ahead and jump into the Justin Fields situation, because you talked about it. It's a big topic. His future with the Bears. They got the number 1 overall pick. You know, Caleb Williams is projected to be the number 1 quarterback. Drake May from North Carolina, he getting some love. But the Bears have been playing better. Fields has been looking better. And if he beats Green Bay, or even if he just plays well, the Bears, even if they lose, but if he plays well, I believe they have to keep him. And I think you in the same boat. But let's say if he doesn't play well, do they still do? In your opinion, if he doesn't play well, do the Bears keep him?
Yes, to me, why is it even a discussion?
Well, let's talk about it. So, right now, so he has next year he got 1 more year. They got to pick up his 5th year option. And then eventually they're going to have to pay him big money. If you let him go and start all over, then you get your new quarterback on a rookie, and then you don't have to worry about paying your quarterback for another 4 years. Big money. Right. And so that's the dilemma. Because if you have to pay Fields big money, now you can't allocate those resources to other areas of your team.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, here's the risk. You let him go, you pick up Caleb. and I was listening to the show the other day.
Yeah.
There ain't no guarantee he gonna come in and perform just because he Caleb Williams in the NCAA.
Right.
Now, we think that it's a great chance,
right,
because of what he's done. However, them DB closing speeds a little quicker in the league.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Them Russian linebackers, it's just a little different. So there's going to be a curve to allowing Caleb Williams to come in and get used to the pro game, whereas you got a proven quarterback that's close to the he's already proven. And here's the other thing. If you have a little better line, if you have some better receivers,
yes,
they might be talking wild card.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I mean, I think you have to look at those kind of things to where I think he's done you a service. And the Bears fans love him for the most part, from what I experienced in here.
Right. They was shouting his name after this last game in Chicago. They was shouting, "We want Fields." So the pressure from the fans I believe is on polls right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time what we find in the game today is they got to find somebody to blame.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of times it's the quarterback, when in this case, it really ain't the quarterback. Like some of them drop passes and key moments. Like, he put the ball there. What else he supposed to do?
Right. I'm not gonna lie. Early on in the season, it was a couple of plays that he missed that made me say, "Oh, you know what? He might not be it." I ain't gonna lie. Like it was like, bro, you don't see this wide open wide receiver, or and a lot of it's been play calling as well. Sometimes I don't like the play calling that's been going on with Luke Getsy as well. But I ain't gonna lie. Early on in the season, I said, "Man, you know what? He might not be it." Mm-hmm. I was thinking that he wasn't able to process and read defenses quickly enough.
Yeah.
But he's been playing better. And like you say, they only got one wide receiver right now. If we just be honest, they only got one. I don't know what happened. What's going on with Darnell Mooney? He show up one every 4 games or 5 games. I don't know what's going on with him. The Chase Claypool trade didn't work out. They had to ship him out of here. And the rest of them guys are just guys. So if you draft a Marvin Harrison Jr., and put him alongside DJ Moore, and then I would still say going out in free agency to get you a third wide receiver. Now you cooking with Crisco.
You add another. I think the tight end core is pretty decent. Some good off-season work.
Yes.
I think the line can get just a tad bit stronger, because he has to. I mean, if he wasn't Justin Fields, he's sacked.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those times, a lot of the dropbacks, he's scrambling up out of them. So, So I mean, I think the ownership has to look at that. Like, I mean, if he's just a drop back quarterback, Bears will win 4 games this year.
I think the line was average. I seen it was some games they played well and some games they struggled.
Yeah.
I think they was average. I don't know how much you can improve the line or who you would get. I know they need a center for sure. They need a center in the worst way. I think that, I think they like Braxton Jones at left tackle. He's just average to me. And they got the rookie Darnell Wright is solid as he was solid as a rookie. And the guard play, I like Tevin Jenkins and Nate Davis, the other guard, was okay. But the center and left tackle, I think you can upgrade those positions. But I don't know how much you can upgrade. I don't think they're going to pick a left tackle in the draft. I think they're going to try, if they trade the pick, which I think they should do, they're going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. You got to get him another weapon, because it's a glaring hole. People can load up on DJ Moore if they want to. Cole Kmet as well, but I think that's the way to go. And I'm in a category of this. You can get another haul. Get another haul. You just got a haul for last year's number 1 pick, and you get another haul. Justin Fields improved during the season. I'm back on the Justin Fields bandwagon. I jumped off for a second, but I'm back, and I'm rolling. So I hope he stays, man, and I hope they keep him. But that's something we're going to be looking at real soon. They have until May, I believe, to pick up his 5th-year option. So I think we might have to wait. Well, we'll know at draft time anyway. We'll know at draft time what they do. what's going to happen with Justin Fields before May, but in April we'll know.
Yeah, I think you pick up. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, finish off.
Yeah, I think you pick up. I think you get a Marvin Harrison, maybe get a few free agency receivers that can like pack that thing in for the receiving core. Focus on that line. Defense, they've been showing their butt off. So they decent, solid, add a few more pieces.
Defense playing better. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. So like keep what you got. You know what I'm saying? Like ensure the young boy that we got you. You know, you are quarterback, you are QB1. That will go a long way. Get your receiving core, get your line tight, tighten up on your defense just a tad bit. DB's been showing out. Maybe get some good, you know, just really focus on that rush defense. And even the last game, that running back showed out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got a good nucleus, but I would say keep everything the same and let's push for these playoffs next year.
Yes, because look, the team who won the division, Detroit, we beat them the last time we played them, and we should have beat them the first time. Yeah. We should have beat them the first time. And so, if that's the division leader, like you say, we're not far away at all. We are not far away. So hopefully they trade the pick and continue to build around Justin Fields. Let's get into. I want to talk about the shot that happened last night. Caitlin Clark, buzzer beater from the logo, to beat the Michigan State at the buzzer beater. Listen, I made the caption that this was a bad shot. This is what I believe this. I believe this. We had a conversation yesterday about bad basketball, right? Now, is she a great shooter? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But if I only need 2, why would I shoot all the way back there for a game-winning shot? This is a bad shot. The percentages. Now, listen, I'm just a fan, but the closer you are to the basket, the percentage of you making it goes up, then the further away. Am I crazy for saying that this is a bad shot? You a coach, you was a GM, you played. We talking about bad basketball. Is this bad basketball or is it not bad basketball because it's Caitlin Clark and she's a great shooter? This is not like the normal bad shot from everybody else because of Caitlin Clark. Am I tripping for saying this is a bad shot?
No, you're not tripping. Now, there's a few things happening in here, okay? So, Iowa doesn't have a dominant inside game.
Okay.
Nor are they lightning quick to get past defenders. Now, Caitlin, she's crafty, so she knows how to use her dribble and get around players. So, she can get to the rack. But I personally think that this was a bad play call. So, when you see them, they were fumbling kind of around the free throw line circle. Okay. And then they finally got it to her because time was just about to be gone. So it wasn't a good play call or either it was a busted play. Okay. So once they got into their clock, you could see that it was just a wrap. So they had to throw something up. So in that regard, yes, bad shot because of the chain reaction of things that happened.
Right.
But because it's her, I'm not surprised that it went in.
Right. And now that I'm looking at the play, you do make some great points. I was just looking at the shot. I didn't get a chance to actually look at how much time and what happened. And so you make a great point. She basically bailed the team out because they were fumbling around. They were fumbling around a lot.
Yeah. And so now, like I say, I'm not surprised she hit it. Now, what I kept rewinding it back for was because did she get that ball off? Like, it was very like that play clock on the screen.
Yeah,
it was at 0 before she let it go. But the red lights on the backboard, they were not on. Like, it was like perfect. It was like she let it go like in a split second time. Like
I'm looking at it. Yeah.
A millisecond, that don't count.
Yes, she did. She just got it off. I'm looking at it. You got once again, like you right on the money. She just got it off.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness, and And it was funny because a coach that I know, Robin Freilich, which is the head coach of Michigan State,
Right.
she spoke at the coaches conference, not this past year, but the year before when we did it virtually.
Right.
But she was just saying, like, man, she had to be proud of her team because, I mean, what can you do, you know? But again, I think with Caitlin hitting that, it's a testament to the work she put in. I mean, she like the female Steph Curry.
She is. But you know what? So, like you said, she basically bailed the team out, and it's not as bad. It's not as bad as I originally thought. Matter of fact, it's really not bad at all. I need to change my caption. But we have seen a lot of NBA buzzer beaters where they would take that shot, and it wasn't because it was fumbling around. They just took that shot, and so that's what I don't like. That's what I don't like. When they do that type of stuff, like you gotta. It's a top ball game. Why would you take that shot from the logo? I seen Dame do it before. I seen him do it before. Even if you make it, that's still a bad shot.
Yeah, bad basketball.
Terrible basketball. And this is what's going on in the NBA right now.
It's tough, man. It's sometimes it's tough to watch. I mean, the amount of like games that teams lose and like the special situation moments, like the last few minutes of the game, or if you're up, this happens a lot in college too. If you're up by 3 points and you have the ball, why am I shooting it with 20 seconds left on the shot clock? Run the clock down. Like those kind of things would be like, oh Lord, help me, because it's tough to watch, man.
Man, and I almost want to ask you, like, what happened to the common sense of basketball? It seemed like it went out the window.
It's not flashy. It's not sexy. Like running the clock out when you got the ball and you're up by 3 with 20 seconds left. That's not sexy. It's sexy to hit my 3 to put us up 6 and then lose the game because somebody else came back down to shoot. It ain't glitz and glam. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too boring to do the common sense thing anymore.
Right.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Some is wrong. Somebody, I don't understand it. So it got to be something. I want to talk about. So you have a league. You have a league that you're starting up in 2024. And before we talk about your league, I want to talk about the reason why people should get behind this, and that's the career that you have had up until this point. So if I look back at your career so far, you averaged over 17 at high school, all GMC honors, and then you was a walk on in Miami of Ohio. You play. I see you play with Wally Zerbiak. You gotta talk about that. How was he as a teammate? And just tell about your experience playing with Wally Zerbiak.
Yeah, man, it was interesting, man. So I walked on. That's a whole nother story. That probably take a whole episode to tell.
Yeah.
I went to Miami. I didn't have any D1 offers. I had a D2 offer. I had a lot of D3 schools, but my academics, I was a 3.811 GPA, and I was 11th in my class. So I could go to school anywhere pretty much for free. So I went to Miami first year, paid about $500 to go to school. And so I went there. First stop was the basketball office. I was like, hey, what do I got to do to get on the team? And he said, go play with the players. So I started finding the players and started playing with them. Make a long story short, I ended up walking on. I had to go to walk-on tryouts that were like at 4:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And there were like 68 guys there. And
wow.
I mean, 6'8", 6'6" guys. And I was 5'11" and a half soaking wet, and I made it over all of them.
Wow.
And so my shot was falling. I was dunking on cats. Like it was a great day.
Was it a 1 day, like, was it a 1 day showcase, or was it multiple days you had to continue to play with the walk-on?
It was 3 different tryouts. So there was a first cut, a second cut, and third cut. I made it through all 3 of them.
Were you hot on all 3 days?
Yeah, I did my thing.
Wow.
But the key thing too, man, I was playing with the players like all fall before like practices and stuff started. So like I was already like ready to go. And because I knew the tryouts were at 4:30 in the morning, for 2 weeks straight, I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning and working out so I can be ready. Where I knew other cats probably might be coming from the club.
Right.
I was used to getting up at 4:30 and working out. So with the 4:30 workout came tryout,
Right.
it was normal for me. And I even went another level. I asked the janitor, how can I get in the arena at 4:30? And he told me that a door that was always open. So I would go in the arena and work out at 4:30. So
Right. Right.
I was trying to get every edge. So fast forward that, man, made the team. And, playing with Wally was a big deal back then. Wally Weir, like his junior year, he was second in the nation in scoring.
Right.
And then my freshman year, which was his senior year, he was fifth in the nation. And that's the year that we went to the Sweet 16. And Wally he was dropping 30, 40 points on like some of the top teams in the country. So like during that time, like ESPN, like now they're everywhere. Back then, when ESPN show up on your campus, it was a big deal. So between like our football team, which was like 11-1 that year, had Travis Prentice, had multiple NFL players. Our basketball team was a big deal. So ESPN was on our campus all the time. So like, I remember coming to practice some days and ESPN had the whole gym shut down and Wally was doing a photo shoot. Like it was stuff like that happening all the time. And he was on the front of Sports Illustrated. So it was like phenomenal to be there to witness it. But like the biggest thing I take from it was his work ethic, man. He stayed in the gym. He was a gym rat. Like he didn't shoot like that just because. The dude stayed in the gym, man.
Right.
And body was chiseled, 6'8", chiseled. Like just, I'm like, man, so like, he went lottery pick that year. It was crazy, man. And so I remember talking to him after the draft and just staying in connection. Like just good dude, man.
And I remember watching him. I think I remember him. I remember him playing a little bit in college, but I remember him more playing with the Timberwolves, and he was always a solid player. But talk about you reached the Sweet 16 in the 98-99 season. How was that experience playing in the March Madness and making it to the Sweet 16? Can you talk about that experience?
So, to be honest about everything, like I didn't get to travel because I was a walk-on for those particular games, but it was great because it was all the fanfare. And I wish I would have got you a picture because I got pictures from like the celebration when the whole arena was full and the send-off ceremony and all of that. So all of that was a great experience, just leading up to it. Because even though I didn't travel and play in the games, like just the notoriety of being a part of that team and, the point guards and things, I gave it to them boys at practice so that they can be prepared. So they, the starting two guard, like we play one-on-one after every practice, like just helping each other. So, I feel like I was, for sure a part of just a different experience. We won a MAC championship that year, so I was a MAC champion. So, just being a part of it as a walk-on, like it was just really great, man. So it was the best program ever to come through Miami, Ohio, in the history of the school. And it's some prestige. Ron Harper played there. We got some players that's come through there. So it was great, man.
Okay, so you had that experience. You played professionally in the ABA. Then in 2013 through 2016, you was an owner and GM. Now let's talk about that aspect. I feel like you done everything, but now an owner and a GM. What is that experience like to be now? You the man over everything.
Yeah.
So
it was phenomenal, man. It was, if I could say anything that I felt like I was in the pocket of doing in terms of what I was created to do, like that was it. Because, being an owner, of course, you're the bottom line of everything. You're paying people, what I'm saying, like making sure everything is running smoothly. But there were so many different aspects of it to where people are being helped. So because I was a walk-on, but I also played pro, and it's funny because somebody gave me an opportunity to play pro, but I didn't have like 4 years of starter stats.
Right.
But I had the game, and there was a time I could have transferred from Miami so that I could go somewhere and actually play. But I stayed there because I would have lost some years of my academics. Like I was a junior, I would have been like back down to the sophomore because everything didn't transfer. So, fast forward it, I ended up staying, but afterwards I went on like this tour of working out for teams across the country. I mean, that summer I played in the Rucker tournament. I pretty much played anywhere I could get in the door. And there's a lot of places, there's teams I got cut from because I didn't have the stats.
Right.
Whereas I bested a D1 starter in workouts and tryouts, but I got cut because I didn't have his stats. But fast forwarded, St. Joseph's High School in Chicago, I went to a pro combine and somebody gave me an opportunity because they saw me. They were like, hey, you were not the best player there, but there was something about you. I saw how vocal you were. I saw how you led your team, this and that. And that's how I got my first pro contract. And from there, I played for like 3 different teams. And because I was that player that I was that under the radar player that could play and somebody gave me a chance, that's what was amazing for me, because now I was a pro owner and I gave those type of guys chances that were a D2 player, that 6'8" guy coming out of college, nobody was looking at him. He's not on the NBA draft board, but the dude can play and he just needs an opportunity to bridge a gap between his next level of pro and college. So I saw that talent. I was able to pick a guy like that up. And now that same guy I'm talking about, he's making feed your family money overseas. You know what I'm saying? So that was probably one of the greatest joys, helping those guys. And through that time, I helped about 20 to 25 guys get to their next place out of college. The other part of that was a great thing because we were able to help communities, man. And so in the community that I was in Lima, Ohio, we were able to go into the school systems. I sat on the Chamber of Commerce board, so I was helping. There's certain decisions that I was a part of. We were able to touch the lives of different families and kids through camps, and just to see families come out at a family-friendly, affordable price and can bring their families there. Families that couldn't get to an NBA game or couldn't afford it, but they could pay $20 to $25 and bring a family of 4 to come and see pro guys that, the entertainment piece that was there. So, man, that whole scope of that, man, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
Moving on. So you did that on a GM. You helped all the players play professionally, but I read that you work with FIBA as a color commentator, and then you work with the NBA D League, which is now the G League, correct?
Yeah.
So you got to tell me about the experience working with FIBA. We always see them when it comes to playing against the other countries and things of that nature, and then working with I always remembered it as I still sometimes call it the D League. The G League just never just kind of, because the D stands for development. So the G, I think, stands for like Gatorade or something. So it's like, I don't even know what they need to work on that, by the way. But let's talk about your experience working with FIBA as a color commentator analyst, and then with the D League and how that was.
Yeah, so with FIBA, just being in basketball and different things in the league, man, I met a lot of people when I had my pro team, and I was in 2 different leagues with my pro team. I was in a league called the Premier Basketball League the first 2 years, and then the last year I went to a different league, and that's where I finished up, and I ended up selling the team. So right after I sold the team, there were some people that I was connected with that reached out and gave me an opportunity to go down to South America for 2 weeks to work with FIBA as a color commentator. And so I had a chance for that first week to go down, and I was in Panama City, Panama. And, with FIBA, there's like world championships or the different championships in like a lot of different countries. And so down in Panama, you got like Panama City, you got the Panama team, you got Virgin Islands, you got Mexico, those kind of teams that we know a lot of pro players that have been a part of some of those teams. We was in Panama City, so I got a chance to commentate like 52 games in 7 days. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it was a great experience because I not only got a chance to be in a different country to see how people, just how that country is. Panama City was more Americanized, than like my second stop, which was Caracas, Venezuela. But when we was in Panama, I met a lot of players. I mean, that's when I saw DeAndre Ayton, playing for his country as a teenager, you know, and seeing him just do everybody in. Like he was a baller then. You know, guys like JJ Barea and just a lot of different NBA players that were playing. You know, during that time, that was a great experience. And then the next week we flew to Caracas, Venezuela, and they had another set of championships there. That country's a little different, you know, but I mean, people love hoop down there. And I had a chance to see a lot of players down there from the different, you know, countries down there, Brazil and, you know, those countries in South America that came, into the tournament to play. So, it was a great experience to get that experience. So I was on the English. So in our area, you have commentating from like countries across the world. And so people that watched it from the United States, I was actually announcing the games in English that were broadcasted back to the States. And so great experience, man. What's your other question in terms of
D-League?
The G League and the D League back then. So, man, it went from me. I had a workout. I worked out with the Fort Wayne Mad Ants, trying to make the team. But then a few years later, I actually worked during that same like 1 or 2 year time frame. I actually worked for them for a short time as a account executive. So I was working for them. So that was like the G League team. And then some years later, I believe it was around 2016, 2017, before I actually went into college coaching, I actually had a chance to work with the G League in Mississauga, Canada, Mississauga, Ontario, right outside of Toronto. So Mississauga is like a suburb, and it's where the Raptors 906 G League team plays. So it's about an hour from downtown Toronto. So I got a chance to go up there and just work with the G League showcase is what they call it. So they have all the teams there. They have NBA people there, G League people. They were all under one roof, and they're just playing games. And so I had a chance to like work those games, work behind the scenes. The NBA, junior NBA, they had a big camp there. I worked the camp. So I just had then I was in there. I met a lot of people from NBA refs, to former players. It was just a great experience. I worked with Jerry Stackhouse in doing the camp. I mean, it was just a lot of just different NBA people that you just get a chance to be around and just get to know. I met a lot of the Raptors personnel, which they were like my direct superiors that were running the whole event. Which some of those have moved on. One of my guys that worked with the Raptors then, he's with the Memphis Grizzlies. So just getting in that, just arena, man, and working with some of those people, man, that's where I belong. That's my atmosphere, man. I love all that. So it was a great time.
And now, and then you went on to be a head coach of the women's Winthrop team, and now you're on the verge of starting your own league. Can you just tell the people about with all this experience that you have now you're starting your own league. Can you tell the people just a little bit about the league that you're starting?
Yeah, so this really came about, when the pandemic hit and I was done with coaching in 2019. I tried to get back into coaching. I had some offers, but didn't really want to pull my family back into the middle of nowhere. I was trying to get in Chicago, so I had interviews with UIC. I was a finalist for the Illinois Tech job, head coaching job, but none of those things panned out. We did virtual interviews. I like to be in person, just to feel the room. So anyway, so we moved on, and we moved back home to the Chicago area. And one of my first stops was to some of the facilities in Northwest Indiana, like the Genesis Center and things like that, because I was looking to get back into pro sports. And there were some leagues that reached out to me during the pandemic to ask me to be a part of their leagues and bring a team into the league. But, knowing how financially things can be, like in the minor league and, minor league sports, to come back in the pandemic with no fans and just that kind of element, you will really have to have a pot of money set aside to make that happen. When you look at the NBA, for them to do the bubble, I mean, you gotta have some. I mean, they have that money to do that, not depend on the fanfare and the concessions and the parking money.
Right.
sponsor, just different things. So I declined. I said, I'm just not going to do that.
Right.
At that time. And so things started opening up, and it just really came back to me. Like, I really would like to go back into the pro realm of things.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved helping players. I really loved helping to build community and the people and blessing the people in the community. So I started on this trek about 2001, just trying to go back into this thing. And to make a long story short, I couldn't find a league that I could find those values that if I went back into it, I could really accomplish the goals of helping the players like I like to, and really going into the communities and doing what I like to do to help build the communities and do my part to making cities better.
Right.
And so I said, you know what? If I ever do this, I'm going to have to start my own league, because there's things that I like to do. And it's not, at the end of the day, it's not just basketball. It's more than that. It's people's lives and things. So I set out, I say about a year or so ago, started looking at, it's about 2 years ago, I started looking at my landscape in the Midwest, looking at different cities that didn't have teams, and trying to see how having a team in these different cities, could be. So me and my wife, we took off and we started driving to these different cities and meeting with different people, managers of the facilities and different things like that, man. So make a long story short, man, I came to that conclusion where starting my own league will probably be the best way to go. So,
yeah. So with this league, what age or what I would say, what age are you looking for? What age range are you looking for people who might want to try out when it's that time?
Yeah, so this league will be a legit professional league. So it will have some of the similar rules that we're used to today, to where you have to be a year, you have to be a year removed from high school. So I definitely wouldn't be looking at high schoolers, because the thing with high schoolers is if I let a high schooler step onto a floor of a tryout, they automatically lose your eligibility to college. So if the NBA and other pro leagues aren't looking at you, you probably should go to college and improve yourself.
Right.
But there's leagues out here that are a year removed, such as the Overtime Elite League or G League Ignite team, that gives that year removed opportunity so that now you can go directly to the pros. So, what I'm really focused on is college graduates. So those guys that are coming right out of college. One of the things that for me, I'm excited about is because I'm not just looking at D1. I'm not just looking at D2, but I'm looking at every level of college, because there's D1 players that are at the NAIA level now. And it's not because they didn't get the opportunity. There's maybe things that they didn't know, or they didn't have the same opportunities coming out in terms of connecting with the right people, but their talent level is that of a D1 player. So instead of me being that league or that team that is looking at, well, you didn't play D1, so I'm not looking at you.
Right.
I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at their pure raw talent. And for them to get to the level that a D1 title would carry them, I'm looking to be that bridge to where they can come into my league as a college graduate with pro ability and prove themselves to the point where now other leagues that are at a higher level domestically and outside of our country can say, okay, they've been in a credible league for a year. I see that pro ability is manifested. We like to take a look at them now. So for them to be able to be in NBA tryouts and workouts, G League team, overseas leagues, because they went through our league for a year and really proved themselves to get that look that they should have gotten coming out of college. That's what our aim is.
Okay. This sounds exciting. I see you got 4 cities lined up: Gary, Hammond, Danville, and Bloomington, Illinois. And then 10 players per team.
Yes.
How can, and I don't know if you put it in the comments already, but if you can you tell if people want to donate and to get this league started, to help get this league started, how can people get behind this?
Yeah, so right now we are in a family and friends funding round to where there's just different costs that to get it started. I'll explain to this. Like for me, I just have to put pride down, because there's different things that are, if you sit back and really wait to things like really get to the place where it's perfect, sometimes that never happens. So when you're looking for funding in businesses, there's different ways you can go. You can go the debt way, you can go the investor way. or you could do some funding rounds. And so we've chosen to do the funding round because when you start going into debt, it can be a little challenging. And I've been across that bridge with this kind of stuff
Right.
before. So we're doing that round now just to offset some of our startup costs in terms of, the trademarks, the lawyer fees, different things like that, which can get very, very costly. But once we get through that, then there's opportunities for funding that are on the table now. But until we solidify like our LLCs and different things, which is in the next couple of weeks, we're looking to do that. Then we'll be able to tap into those other dollars that we can legally receive,
Right.
To be able to get sponsorships and different things going. So I'll go ahead and share that link down. We'll definitely love the support of anybody that's listening. No amount's too small or big. For those who are local to some of these places, there's even things that we can do in terms of some tickets and different things like that. But I'll share that link down here now.
Yeah, man. I encourage all my viewers, listeners to donate. I've donated, and I'm going to try to donate again. I'm excited for the especially when they come to Gary and Hammond. Like I can't wait. Even Danville, not too far either. I don't know how far Bloomington is, but I can't wait to see the league up and going, and I'm excited for it, man. But I definitely encourage everybody, man, support this brother. You've heard all the experience that he has. This ain't just Joe Blow off the side of the road trying to do something with no experience. He's trying to do something in the community as well, trying to help communities, not only just doing a league, he's trying to help the community with this league. So y'all make sure y'all go there, support, donate anything that you can. And I look forward to seeing this league up and coming, and hopefully being at a lot of these games front and
Yeah.
center. So
Yeah, man, and I appreciate you having me on to talk about this, man. It's really a lifelong type of project, man. That it's not just something that you do. You got to really throw yourself into this, man. And my heart is really to help cities, and sports has a way of bringing people together, like a lot of things don't. Like being a Bears fan, you automatically got a community. You can walk in the store and they got Bears. Oh, what's up? What's up?
right.
It brings you together, man, and it gives you something common to go for. And so when you have that kind of synergy within a city, man, with the people, a lot of other great things begin to happen too. And so that's the one thing I'm most excited about, and just really doing my part to help different cities and stuff like that. Namely, Gary and Hammond, which they're right here where where the Chicagoland area. So, just that means a lot to me.
What about what about those? Is it an age limit on this league? Is it a cutoff? Like, can the old heads walk on? Like, yo, I still got some juice. Like, I still want to give it a go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not topping anybody off from living their dreams. I think at some point we may have some tryouts or different things like that.
Yeah.
So that I was one of those guys. I actually played a half a year of pro in 2012 before I owned my team. I don't really talk about that a lot, but I was trying to get back into it at 32.
Okay.
But so I played like a half a year. But yeah, I'm not knocking anybody. As a matter of fact, when I started talking about this a year or so ago, I had some people reach out to me that they played college, whether it's at DePaul or some of the local places, and they were out of it for 2 years, and they were looking to get back to it. So like they're a little older now, but some people still trying to live their dream. So if their pro level is at the place, I don't mind giving a look.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, man, I definitely appreciate you coming on, the first guest of the year.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, I always try to come up with a come to church scripture. And as I was preparing for the show, it brought me back to an old one that I've used before, but I think it's fitting because it's January. Everybody got the new year, new me, and all these different things, and I'm with it. Do your thing. But to me, whatever you're trying to accomplish, I believe need to take some planning. And you got some big plans already. I got some big plans. But this scripture hit a little different one time. When I was listening to one of my guys that I listen to. I know you probably heard Dr. Miles Monroe. This when he talked about this scripture, I never heard it talked about like this, and it just blew me away. And so the scripture is, for I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a future and a hope. And then when everybody hear that scripture, they get excited for the plans that God has for you. But he broke it down to the sense that, now I'm looking at it like God. I'm looking at it like God is like, oh, I got a plan for Lewis. I got this plan for Lewis. I got that plan for Lewis. I got the he wrote out a plan. We just don't know what it. We don't always know what it is. But he got a list of plans for you. And it's like, how we do. We write down our plans, or we might write out an agenda for the day and plan out our day or year, whatever the case may be. But if this scripture to me is saying that God has plans, that means we need to have a plan. So all those goals that you have for this year, I encourage you to actually plan it out. This scripture means a little different for me now. Last year, I planned out my year, got a lot of things accomplished that I didn't get accomplished before. I'm getting to the point now where I'm actually planning out my day, every day and by time. And Dr. Miles Monroe said one time, when you do that, you giving your time purpose instead of just going willy-nilly through the day, topsy-turvy, whatever. Now you giving your time purpose. And I found out that every time that I do that, I get more stuff accomplished. Even if he said, and another thing he said, it's better to have plans and to change it than to not have plans at all. Like, man, dude be spitting, man. That's one of my favorite dudes to listen to, but he be spitting. But that's the scripture. I hope that that do something for you in the new year.
Yeah.
Plan your goals out, man. Plan your goals out.
Yes.
So, Mr. Lewis Shine, appreciate you, brother, man. We're gonna be connecting a lot. I'm speaking. We're gonna be collecting a lot. Connecting a lot this year.
Yes.
That's another plan of mine. It's connect with you a lot, man. So we about to get ready to get up out of here. Once again, y'all check out the link to donate to the league. I'm excited for the league. Y'all make sure y'all do that. And we are about to get up out of here. I will see y'all soon.
We lock and load, Allen Pass. It's the Allen Pass Show.